Okay, we're live.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I'm calling this special Board of Education meeting to order. First, the Greater Victoria School District wishes to recognize and acknowledge the Esquimalt and Songhees nations on whose traditional territories we live, we learn, and we do our work. To start, could I please get an approval of the agenda? Moved by Jordan, seconded by Elaine. Is there any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of the agenda, please signify. And I think Tom is just coming online. There we go. I got a raised hand with Tom. Excellent. So good evening, everybody. Thank you for your participation in tonight's meeting. The purpose of this special board meeting is for members of the public to provide the board with their input on the proposed land disposal at Lansdowne South Campus. This is an additional opportunity for the community to present their ideas prior to the board considering third reading of its land disposal bylaw on February 28th, 2022. I do want to just say a few words about the format of this evening's special open board meeting before we begin. We have 30 presenters tonight with a 3-minute presentation time each. My very special thank you to Vicki Hanley for coordinating the presenters. Presenters will wait in the waiting room until their presentation time, at which time they will be admitted to the meeting. Once the 3-minute presentation time has concluded, presenters will be invited to leave the meeting, at which time they can watch the remainder on YouTube, and the next presenter will be admitted. As always, this open meeting is being live streamed and everybody is welcome to watch on YouTube. We have set aside 90 minutes for this meeting, and in order to keep presentation times to their maximum and to hear from the greatest number of registered speakers, there will be no questions. There will be no Q&A, question and answer opportunity at tonight's meeting. The board is receiving information and input on the proposed land disposal from the public in order to prepare for the board's consideration of third reading of the disposal bylaw. With that, Andy, can you please invite our first speaker, Marilyn Young?
Okay, Marilyn should be in the room.
Hi, Marilyn. You are live with the Board of Education. I will give you 3 minutes. I will not interrupt during your presentation. I will let you know when the 3 minutes are up, at which time you will be asked to leave, and we'll bring the next presenter in and you can watch on YouTube. So Marilyn, I'm starting my 3-minute timer now. You may begin.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Marilyn Young. I'm a board member of the Camosun Community Association. Please, please do not sell this piece of Lansdowne Southlands. So many people, organizations, companies, and municipalities have worked so hard for so many years to bring about a vision of controlled flooding and a beautiful community green space. I want to use my 3 minutes to point out 3 inaccuracies that have risen in recent board meetings in hopes that this may help you make your decision to vote no to this sale. The first one is that School District 61 staff did indeed consult with the Boca Creek Initiative CRD staff. In fact, they actively contributed to the review and conceptual designs described in the 2020 Daylight Feasibility Study and the associated companion report on flood abatement. If you want to confirm this, see the slides that Jody Watson of the Boca Creek Initiative presented to you on February 14th. Being recently employed does not absolve employees from researching what went on before their arrival, especially when negotiating something as important as a land sale. Number 2, there was a question about whether any work had been done on this property. There is much preliminary work that has to be done on such an enormous project as the restoration of the biological, zoological, and hydrological systems of a whole watershed. First and foremost, land has to be secured in public hands. We thought this task was nearly accomplished when the sale was announced. So once again, we're having to fight to keep what we thought was secure in public hands. Agreements with 3 municipalities and the CRD had to be negotiated. The whole creek had to be studied in great detail, resulting in 6 studies, the latest of which is the daylight feasibility study and the report on flood abatement, which was done in 2020. Grants had to be applied for. Researchers had to be hired and paid for. You can't put shovels in the ground without the groundwork, and a lot of work has been done. This part of the creek can't be seen in isolation. It's part of a whole system. And number 3, finally, this land will not be transferred to public or to Island Health, but to a private society. It will no longer be in a public green space. This community badly needs green space as it continues to densify, both in the Victoria City and Saanich around this area. It is well below the 5 hectares per 1,000 population standard in Saanich. Please vote no to this sale. Keep this land in public hands. You might not live in this community, but many of your students do. They deserve to have enough green space.
Thank you, Marilyn.
The results of the work. Thank you.
Thank you, Marilyn. Thank you, Marilyn. That's your 3 minutes. Thank you so much. Andy, can you please invite in our next speaker, Mary Ann Watson.
Mary Ann Watson should be in the room. Thank you.
Mary Ann, welcome. You have 3 minutes. I will not interrupt you during the course of your presentation. I will let you know when your 3 minutes are up, at which time you are invited to participate through YouTube. Your 3 minutes start now. Mary Ann, you are on mute. I will pause 1 second. I will pause. I will restart when you're ready, but you're on mute.
Hi there. Thank you, Ryan. I usually do a little talk, but tonight I did a TikTok because Tracy inspired me. I haven't done a lot of screen sharing, but I'm gonna see if I can find it. Where is the screen sharing button, guys? It's not going.
At the bottom of the app, there's a green.
Oh, we got it. We got it. You bet. Okay. And I just need to find my item. It's in a second. Here we go. And here we go. I'm going to unshare. Now, how do I stop that? Oh, guys. Oh.
And then if you click,
it doesn't let me stop, guys.
At the top of the screen, there should be a stop.
Oh gosh, guys.
Sharing red. I think it's on a red background button.
So, guys, I guess what I'm trying to say is, even if you just walk by these 2 properties, you can see that there's just environmental racism and classism. I walked by Oak Bay. They had classrooms beside the creek. They were teaching environmental stewardship and climate change. And you go by Lansdowne, and it's like when you look at Vic High versus Oak Bay on their track, there's just blatant, visual, can't get it out of your face racism. And to proceed with this project or even this process without having the support of the Greater Victoria Teachers Association or Songhees First Nation or our pact is kind of obscene and an assault on democracy. I would ask you to stop, because I believe everyone here is going to embarrass themselves. Thanks. I didn't
thank you. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on you, Mary Ann. You've still got 30 seconds. So
well, no, I didn't want you to. So this time I thought I'd be short and I'd talk to you like the kids and use a TikTok. It's pretty obvious that the kids downtown don't get the same deal as the kids at Oak Bay. And something needs to change here when you shove things through on communities that have less advocacy because of poverty. Thanks. Now I'm done.
Okay. There we go. Thank you. And we'll just get the, if we can stop screen sharing so we can get back to,
If somebody,
we go.
oh, thank you, guys.
there we go. Thank you, Marianne.
Thank you.
Now, Andy, if we could get you to bring in Lee Urquhart, please.
Lee should be in the room.
I don't see anyone.
Sorry, just joining.
There we go. I see Lee is here. Hello, Lee. You are in with us. You have 3 minutes. I will not interrupt you during that 3-minute time, but when your 3 minutes are up, I will chime in and let you know that your time is up and invite you to watch on YouTube. So Lee, your 3 minutes start now. And you are on mute still. If you're trying to talk, I'll cancel. Just hold on. I'll wait till you're ready, Lee. Make sure you're off mute so you can talk. Your 3 minutes starts now.
Good evening, everybody. Lee Urquhart, 2835 Queenston Street. Good evening, and thank you for this opportunity. Good evening, and thank you for this opportunity. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you, Lee. We can hear you.
Thank you for this opportunity to speak at this special board meeting. I have lived next to the former Richmond Elementary School for 36 years, and I fought with it.
Hello, Lee.
Yes.
You are in with us. You have 3 minutes. Lee, you're we're going to pause you here just for a sec. You're playing on another device. You're playing the live stream somewhere and you're hearing an echo of the live stream somewhere else. So if you can mute that or turn that off, I'm going to restart you at your 3 minutes, but turn off if you have this live stream playing somewhere else, because that's where we're getting an echo. Okay, I'll start your 3 minutes again.
Thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Good evening, all, and thank you for this opportunity to speak at this special board meeting. I have lived next to the former Richmond Elementary School for 36 years, and I fought with success to save the school from an outright sale in 2006. I have witnessed flooding on adjacent roadways and property to the school as the storm drains backed up from Bowker Creek. Therefore, because of that, I fully support the flood mitigation and stream remediation proposed by the Bowker Creek Blueprint, which SD61 also endorsed in 2018. Now that brings us to today. Perhaps the board saw an easy, however temporary solution for their current budget deficit in accepting an offer to purchase when the property was not even advertised for sale. For certain, there was a lack of knowledge of the Bowker Creek initiative and its vision by both the board and as well as the buyer. And even more certain, other options were never explored as revealed by the zero consultation with community stakeholders before the agreement was signed. Regrettably, School District 61 was forced to sell just north of here 7 acres of irreplaceable green space at Lansdowne Middle School North, but by a provincial mandate, they had no choice. However, this time around, School District 61 does have a choice to preserve school land for future educational needs and climate change mitigation. Because of the pleas from the community, I find you are now listening, and there still is time to reverse course. The proposed sale agreement with VHS can and should be terminated on February the 28th. And that decision would be hailed as a valuable learning exercise in democracy and fairness of the highest magnitude. We all learn and grow when we consult and communicate before making a major decision. For this decision, there can be a no win-win-win, impossible, as this 180-meter portion of Bowker Creek will be the losing party, and it must remain undeveloped and as a future stormwater facility and flood mitigation. The crux of this issue to me resides in the expectation that $319 million of School District 61 deferred maintenance costs can be funded from school budgets. No amount of school land disposal could begin to finance that amount. It would take 70 years at the $4.5 million the government gives School District 61 now. How many other government ministries do you think sell their buildings and land to balance their budgets? I don't know, by voting no to disposal, this board would be saying we are frustrated with the education ministry funding formulas, and we will not sell our property in order to balance unrealistic budget deficits or to fund school replacements.
Hi, Lee, your time is up. Lee,
Thank you very much.
Yeah, your time is up. Thank you very much, Lee. Appreciate it. Yeah. All right. Andy, if you could please invite Gerald Harris in. Hi, Gerald. Welcome to the special board meeting. You have 3 minutes. I will not interrupt you during your presentation. When the 3 minutes are up, I will chime in to let you know. I will then invite you to watch on YouTube. So Gerald, if you want to go ahead and unmute, your 3 minutes start now.
Thank you. My name is Gerald Harris. I live in the North Jubilee neighborhood and serve as a director of Peninsula Streams Society. I'm here to plead for a collaborative process to resolve a divisive issue. I ask SD61 to work with hospice, neighborhood associations, parent and teacher groups, MLAs, municipal and regional government, and advocacy groups to find win-win-win solutions. Hospice needs a good new home, yet the entire 1.9 acre parcel now for sale at Lansdowne South is needed for flood prevention. Intense rainstorms caused by climate change will flood 300 buildings along Bowker Creek unless the community works together to prevent it. Engineering studies published by CRD from 2001 to 2020 document the problem and define the most feasible solutions. Projected flooding will inundate the 1.9 acres at the 25-year flood level. At the 100-year flood level, projected flooding will spread to many homes in my neighborhood. Feasibility studies in 2020 show this same 1.9 acres as the single best site along the creek for stormwater detention. Engineered as floodplain, the entire site can detain 36,000 cubic meters of stormwater and reduce peak flows by 15%. It can serve as beautiful public green space more than 99% of the time, flood for approximately 24 hours every 2 years, and save many buildings from flooding. Development, such as hospice proposes, could provide only a very small fraction of that flood prevention benefit while building on known floodplain land. It would be folly for the community to allow. Yet, hospice also serves the community and needs a good new location. School District 61 trustees, please suspend your final decision on the sale and enter into collaboration to find winning solutions for all. Enter a planning process with stakeholders to bring the greatest benefit to the community and to SD61 students while healing the present painful division. Thank you very much.
Right on time, Gerald. Well done. Thank you for that. Andy, if we can now invite Lisa Timmins into the meeting. Hello, Lisa, and welcome to the meeting. You have 3 minutes to present. I will not interrupt you during your presentation. When 3 minutes are up, I will let you know that your time is up, and we will then invite you to continue watching on YouTube. So if you are unmuted, your 3 minutes starts now.
Just want to confirm that you can see my PowerPoint presentation.
Yes, we can. You are good to go.
That's
I'm just
great.
going to,
Okay.
just so we don't want you to lose those 5 seconds. So
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you, Ryan.
We'll start now. You're welcome.
Okay, awesome. So my name's Lisa Timmins. I live at 3374 Veteran Street. I happen to be the president of the Camosun Community Association. And I just want to stress that we're here because we care. There's a number of concerns with this property, certainly in our neighborhood. I want to give you the context of the green space issues, the flood mitigation, equity inclusion when it comes to access to nature for our growing community and youth, and then due process. So one, I just want to speak to, we need to take the messages from our global leaders, our provincial leaders, our local municipal leaders, and from our own school district seriously. Climate change is an emergency. And we've been calling on this to act. Fred Haynes told us back in November with the purchase of King Nature's green space that at COP26, municipalities and countries in Europe are ripping up concrete to put down green space as part of mitigating climate change risk. We need to act now. And unfortunately, long-term statistics from Canada tell us, guess what? We're not doing it. We continue to lose green space across cities, across Canada. Just like Joni Mitchell says, we're continuing to pave paradise. In the Shelburne Valley, they recognize that with the Shelburne Valley Action Plan, that this area is deficient in park space, and that moving forward, it's going to be a critical challenge to provide residents with green space, particularly as they move to more condominium and townhomes with less access to private outdoor space. And we need to prioritize parks and open space to ensure good quality of life for all citizens. The 2010 Saanich Parks for this neighborhood, Shelburne Local Area Plan, shows we are deficient. And yes, school grounds are part of that open space and part of that calculation. What's shocking is that the parcel of land that's up for sale at Lansdowne South Campus was proposed as a park in 2008. And this is an important piece of land, obviously because of the Boca Creek Initiative and what both you, SD61, and the Camosa community has signed on to. Now, here we are in 2021, and the community continues to lose green space with 7.3 acres lost at the North Campus and now a potential 1.9. To give you an idea of the density that's coming, we're talking 4 to 6 story condominiums with townhomes below. And within that plan, family-oriented multifamily housing, which really puts into question the enrollment question for Lansdowne South Campus. Just like in 2007, where there's a wish to dispose it, I really question that action. This is just a sample of what's going to be built up Shelburne Valley and current development applications. Pretty dense. When it comes to equity, environment surveys by Canada shows that families that have less money have less access to open space. So this is important that we hold on to this. You have children from a variety of different income brackets. They need that access because they don't have it, nor do they have the ability.
Yeah, sorry, Lisa, your time, that's the 3 minutes. It goes by so fast. Thank you for your presentation. Lisa, if you did want to send that through to trustees, please feel free to do so. Trustees at sd61.bc.ca.
Thank you.
Thank you. Andy, if you could please invite Margaret Rowe into our meeting.
Chair, I do not see Margaret Rowe in the waiting room.
Okay, we'll go next to Derek Shrubsole then. And let me know, Andy, if Marguerite does come in. We don't want to miss her or them. Derek, welcome. You have 3 minutes. I will not interrupt you during your presentation. When the 3 minutes are up, I'll let you know, and we'll invite you to continue watching on YouTube. So Derek, your 3 minutes start now.
Great, thank you. Hi, my name is Derek Shrubsole. I'm a teacher at Oak Bay High School and have had the fortune of being there since about 2002. I'm here to provide a little background on what could be at the Lansdowne South property. I've heard other speakers speak to what we're fortunate to have at Oak Bay High School, and that's sort of what I want to give a little background on here tonight. The design process at Oak Bay was occurred back in 2015 and included partners from the school, so students and staff. Included members from the community, members from the municipality, as well as the school district. And in the design charrette, there was a process by which we were able to assess the needs of the different member parties and come up with a design that sort of accommodated what everyone wanted to see for that space, because it was going to be a once in a lifetime chance to get that kind of work done. What we have from there is something that's unique not only to Victoria, but I would argue to Lower Mainland and even in BC. We have an outdoor learning space for our students that is easily accessible to the school. We want to study the plants, the animals, the interactions, it's all there. We have an outdoor classroom. And you haven't seen the space. It's a little amphitheater style space. It was designed by a grade 11 student on the back of a napkin during a design throughout process. And it's a wonderful place to gather our students, to center them, and then to participate in their different activities. And when I'm out there with my class, I see so many members from my community walking by. It's a space they make the way to go through, because it's really a nice space that connects the different parts of Oak Bay from one part to another here. And what it's allowed us to do is is collaborate with other schools. So I can invite schools like Monterey. I've actually had students from Lansdowne come all the way over to our school because there's nothing close to them. So it really is a unique space that is so valuable for our students here. So really what I'm here is just to ask for a pause. The process at Oak Bay took a while to come to design. It took funding to come about. The whole process was around, you probably heard, about $738,000. But what we have there is a learning space, a learning asset that is, say, unique and something that I treasure and I had a chance to enjoy. So yeah, so I'm asking just for some sort of process, which is going to be more of a collaborative one between the school district, the community, the Capital Regional District, a way that's going to be a win-win both for the community as well as for our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Derek, for your time and your presentation. Really appreciate it. Andy, do we have Marguerite there? Or if not, we can move to Isabella Cordova von Specht.
No, admitting Isabel now.
Okay, thank you. We can just wait for audio. Isabella, welcome to the meeting. You have 3 minutes to present. I won't be interrupting you during that time. When your 3 minutes are up, I'll let you know and invite you to continue watching on YouTube. So Isabella, if you're unmuted, and you are, your 3 minutes start now.
Thank you. I would like to actually just share my screen, please.
Okay, let me just pause that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me just pause that so we can get your presentation ready, and then when you're ready to go. Are
you able to see this?
Yes, we are.
Thank you. I'm Isabel Cordova von Specht, Sandwich resident and neighbor to Lansdowne. Thank you, and I respectfully question the authority of this dismembered board to vote on this critical issue on February 28th. But for today, I want to take you on a journey through this neighborhood to give you a better sense of the impact of any development on this land. Here are the two Lansdowne campuses, north and south. As you know, Lansdowne North has already lost 7.3 acres of land. Now the South Campus is targeted for land loss. So the school is going to lose twice over, and so does the community. For Lansdowne South, it loses opportunities for its own educational and recreational needs. Here are the relative locations of the two campuses lying between two corridors, Shelburne and Richmond, that are targets for densification. Note this school is split due to capacity issues already. The South Campus is located in an elementary school. Lansdowne's situation raises several equity issues. One, equity and quality of school space, as it lacks the facilities of a middle school. Two, equity in school enrollment space available to the neighborhood, as the sale of that triangle reduces development options for Lansdowne on the remaining 6 acres. And three, equity in access to green space for the community. As you've heard, this area is already identified as being in green space deficit. This school should have a voice, and their teaching staff have spoken. Please respect their resolution, their keen interest in the incredible teaching and experiential resources the Creek offers, and the meaningful input they seek. We challenge the board's assertions around school enrollment. As per CRD plans, this area is slated for densification. The Avery Lane development here is evidence of that, half a block from Lansdowne South. These children will need to go to school somewhere. This aerial shows the proximity of the school in King's community nature space. You need to see this so-called disposable land in its full context, in its connections to the wider ecosystem it's part of. We see this land as precious. Once you walk 1 block to the King's nature space, you arrive here in this beautiful wildlife-filled space with the creek accessible. This represents some of the incredible ecological diversity and value just 1 block away. At Lansdowne, the creek is neglected and fenced, unable to offer its rich gifts to the wildlife or community. You just haven't imagined the possibilities, not knowing what is already here and what needs our care and protection, especially in the face of our climate emergency. Here is that climate emergency in pictures. Flooding is causing erosion, habitat loss, serious damage to properties, and is making recreational spaces inaccessible. Others will speak to the Bowker Creek plans, but I want to communicate that there is a vision for the space, a joint vision for the school and creek that has been years in development. It is not surplus, it is not disposable, it is priceless, of priceless value to the school community, the neighborhood, and the residents that live in the watershed. Please, in the 21st century, recognize that we build on developed land, not on green space.
Thank you, Isabella. Really appreciate your presentation tonight.
Thank you.
Andy, could you please invite in Jordan Reichert?
Chair, we do have Marguerite in the waiting room now.
Thank you. Let's get Marguerite in first then.
Okay.
Marguerite, welcome and thank you for attending this evening. You have 3 minutes to present to the board. I will not interrupt you during your presentation. When your 3 minutes is up, I will let you know and invite you to continue watching on YouTube. So if you are ready, please be sure that you are not on mute and your 3 minutes starts now. Marguerite, are you there with us? Just give Marguerite a second here. Make sure we're connected to audio. Marguerite, just checking to see if you are there with us and available. Andy, I'm thinking perhaps Marguerite is having some issues on their end. Is Jordan Reichert available? I'm thinking what we can do is invite Jordan in to speak. And then perhaps Marguerite will have resolved their technical issues and then they'll be able to participate.
Yes, and Marguerite, if you're able to chat, you can send me a message in the chat if you have any questions.
Yeah, Andy is fantastic and will help you. So if we can get Jordan Reichert brought in while Marguerite is still here, and perhaps we can help Marguerite through her technical challenges. In the meantime, Jordan, welcome to presenting to the board this evening. You have 3 minutes to present to the board. I won't interrupt you during your presentation. When 3 minutes is up, I will let you know and invite you to continue watching on YouTube. So Jordan, be sure that you are not on mute. And if you are ready, your 3 minutes starts now.
Thank you so much, School Board Trustees. My name is Jordan Reichert of the Animal Alliance of Canada. I live about a block away from Lansdowne Middle School as well, and often enjoy walking alongside Bowker Creek. I am often saddened to see the way it is contained in chain link fence, which contains the creek and makes a further barrier for urban wildlife such as ducks, raccoons, and other species to access an important freshwater source. Regardless of its current state, I fully believe that every effort should be made in the interest of the community, protection of biodiversity, and mitigation of environmental concerns such as flooding to rewild the area as best possible and the creek be maintained to reestablish its ecological integrity. There is no greater need in the world today than the protection of biodiversity. As the United Nations reminds us, the rampant loss of flora and fauna continue unabated. That is why I must express to you my disapproval of this land disposal, even to such a worthwhile cause such as hospice and the services they provide to families. I personally have accessed their services and appreciate the care with which they treated my father in his final days. However, as a lover of nature, I know that he would not have supported compromising the ecological integrity of this area, even for his end-of-life comfort. While the services hospice provides are essential, the use of this land for those services is not. Once the compromise is made to the watershed, there will not be a chance to get it back. It has clearly been marginalized in favor of human expansion for a great many years, and if we do not prioritize its well-being as an ecosystem, if the urgency of the climate crisis we face today is not enough, then when will it be? The evidence is clear in support of not disposing of this land for further development in the interest of nature, and we need to remember that nature needs space in our cities and communities too. Realizing the goals of the Friends of Bowker Creek Society in turn would provide lasting benefit to the community, our local ecology, and non-human animals who also have an interest in the protection of their habitat, which is largely unrepresented. These ecosystems are endangered locally and globally, and the consequences are dire if we do not prioritize the protection of these essential ecological corridors and their surrounding ecology. I hope you will take the bold action necessary to protect this environmentally sensitive area and not dispose of it. No greater burden of responsibility exists for our elected officials today. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan, for your presentation. I invite you to continue watching this evening on YouTube, but thank you again for tonight. Andy, have we helped Marguerite with their technical challenges?
I've not heard from Marguerite yet. Did reach out via chat, so I'm not sure what the situation is.
All right, well, let's keep them here just in case something works out, but I don't want to boot them when they've registered. We'll go next to Soren Henrich. So Andy, please do invite Soren into the board meeting. Soren, welcome to the special board meeting tonight. You have 3 minutes to present to the board. I won't interrupt during the presentation, but after 3 minutes is up, I will inform you and invite you to continue watching on YouTube. So Soren, if you can come off mute, your 3 minutes, if you are ready, we'll start now. Hi, Soren. I've paused because I want to make sure you get all the time allotted to you. Are you ready, or do you have a presentation, or are you just going to be presenting?
Thank you, Chair Painter. No, I just have my me and my voice, and I learned to to pause the YouTube so I wouldn't get that feedback.
Yes, I think a few people are doing that tonight. So that's fine. Yeah, so Soren, in the interest of giving you a full presentation, your 3 minutes will start now.
Thank you, Chair Painter. I'm Soren Henrich. I'm a director of the Friends of Bowker Creek Society. I'm a North Jubilee neighbor and a community rep on the Bowker Creek Initiative Steering Committee. And thank you very much for hosting and attending this special board meeting. I must say, though, this restricted 3 minute per person one-way format is quite unique and strange, even with all the technical challenges. I understand the number of participants tonight had to be capped at 30, and there are a number of people who did not make the cut. For this reason alone, tonight's meeting can barely be considered the start of community engagement. Time has not yet been granted for real dialogue with the affected communities. And I remain concerned about the speed of the disposal process. Why the rush? 11 key questions raised in the Friends of Bowker Creek Society November 24th letter to SD61 remain unanswered. For example, given the importance of this property for flood mitigation, has SD61 consulted with local governments, including downstream municipalities of Oak Bay and Victoria? How did you engage with Saanich and Oak Bay and Victoria prior to entering into a purchase and sale agreement? And how were community plans considered? Why were the Friends of Bowker Creek Society and the Camosun Community Association and other Bowker Creek Initiative partners, community representatives, not consulted before SD61 entered into a purchase and sale agreement? Now, you know, this reach of the creek currently enjoys public ownership on both banks, a very rare feature. Disposing of the property serves to further fragment ownership of the stream bed and riparian creek bank areas and unnecessarily complicate future restoration opportunities. The Friends of Bowker Creek Society asks the school district to stop or perhaps restart the land disposal process to allow time for genuine community consultation and dialogue. I appreciate we're all under duress imposed by the COVID-19 pandemic and are both enabled and restricted by this way of meeting here on Zoom and YouTube. I look forward and hope to a time when we may freely meet in person, say over tea, or go for a walk along the creek to discuss with you our shared concerns and come up with a better solution.
Thank you, Soren. Appreciate your presentation and appreciate your time tonight and your continued advocacy on behalf of the Friends group. I noticed Marguerite appears to have gone. So Andy, is she waiting, or are they still here, or?
I can attempt to readmit them from the waiting room.
Okay, go ahead and please do. Hi, Marguerite. Can you hear me? Just want to check and make sure your technology is working on your side.
I can hear you now.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. So Marguerite, as I said previously, you have 3 minutes. I won't interrupt you during your presentation. When 3 minutes are up, I'll let you know and invite you to continue watching on YouTube. So Marguerite, your 3 minutes start now.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. My name is Margaret Rowe, and I've been honored to be member of the Victoria Hospice Board of Directors for the past 5 years. I'm also the chair of the Committee for Planning and Development, and our group is in fact pursuing this new facility location. I'm also have a background in healthcare, and I've been involved with palliative care for quite a few years. I'm really proud to represent the staff and the volunteers at Victoria Hospice, who walk alongside patients and families on their end-of-life journeys. People like our neighbors, our friends, and our family members. And hospice supports the community, and we're very fortunate because in turn they support us. You see, our largest portion of our income comes from Island Health. But nearly half of our annual operating costs are covered by thousands of generous donors in the community. Care is delivered by a highly skilled group of an interdisciplinary team of professionals and trained volunteers. And we offer pain and symptom management, social and emotional support, and comfort and compassion so people can experience the best possible quality of life. We have a really robust grief program, support program, and many public and professional educational programs. In our 40-year history, we've had the honor of facilitating thousands of important rituals and events at our hospice, such as birthday parties and weddings in our rooftop garden, our tea ceremonies and concerts at the bedside, trick-or-treating at Halloween in our hallways, and also surprise visits from Santa Claus, which are really important for patients and their families. Our current facility, however, is a 70-year-old former maternity ward, and it no longer is ideal for our growing community. I want to tell you what we envision. We envision a new hospice which is welcoming and modern. It would offer a tranquil space where families can gather for a meal with their loved ones, and private rooms where patients can look out large windows and look onto beautiful gardens. And if they go outside, we envision them being able to smell the freshly cut grass and to watch their children or grandchildren play in the yard. The potential new site with the peaceful creek side setting.
Marguerite, I'm sorry, your 3 minutes are up.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I know it goes by so quickly.
Okay.
Thank you for presenting to us tonight. We really appreciate it.
No problem.
If you have a presentation or notes you want to submit, please do feel free to send them to us, trustees@sd61.bc.ca. Everyone else is also invited to do the same who's watching. So thank you. Andy, please invite Jane Evans. Hello, Jane. Welcome to our special board meeting. You have 3 minutes to make your presentation. I won't interrupt during your presentation, but I will let you know when your 3 minutes are up. At that time, we'll invite you to continue watching on YouTube if you like. So if you are ready, your 3 minutes start now.
Okay, I'm Jane Evans. I'm a resident of Oak Bay. Thank you for giving us, the community, a chance to speak on the proposed land sale. I would like to request that the board consider how, as custodians of the public lands, you can ensure that the future of this land will support our fight against climate change. We need to save green space within urban areas. Green space helps reduce urban heat islands. Green space absorbs rainwater, and in this case, storm and flood waters. Green space provides outdoor play areas and fresh air for children and families that may be living in higher density and affordable housing. Green space can grow natural biodiversity, and this green space is essential for the health of the creek and one small action for the health of our oceans. Please don't start cutting the grass so that we can smell it. I hope that the future plans for this site can include these important considerations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jane, for your presentation. I appreciate you coming this evening. Andy will now bring in Kevin Harter to present. Kevin, welcome to our special board meeting this evening. You have 3 minutes to present. I won't interrupt during your presentation, but I will let you know when your time is up, at which time we invite you to watch on YouTube. So if you are ready, do you have a presentation for us tonight, Kevin, or just yourself? Okay.
Just talking.
Your 3 minutes are up, or start now.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Kevin Harter, and I have the privilege of being the CEO of Victoria Hospice. For more than 40 years, Victoria Hospice has provided quality palliative and end-of-life care to patients and their families. We have grown alongside of our community over those years. However, there is more growing to do. By 2035, the population of people aged 75 and over on Vancouver Island is expected to more than double. To meet the individual and system needs and to ensure a good quality of life for people who are dying and their loved ones, we desperately need a new home. For more than 15 years, we have researched dozens of possible locations to enable us to expand services such as grief support, community education, practical programs, and to increase our current capacity of beds from 18 to 30. Since October of last year, we have, when we entered into an agreement with the Greater Victoria School Board, we have met with the District of Sandwich, the Boker Creek Initiative, and the Friends of Boker Creek. Over the last few months, we have stated our commitment to remediate this section of Boker Creek. We have hired a registered professional biologist, a stormwater engineer, and a landscape architect. In collaboration with these consultants, we have thoroughly reviewed the master drainage plan and the Boker Creek blueprint. From this review, we have proposed a design intent which has been posted on the SD61 website. Our proposal meets the blueprint objectives and allows for a diverse array of environmental and social benefits, including multi-use green space for hospice clients and families, an outdoor classroom, and an opportunity for public greenway access to benefit the community. Victoria Hospice is committed to remediation of the creek and will undertake restoration work in a timely manner. Today, no remediation of this creek, this section of creek has occurred. Our vision for the riparian area habitat will create an area that will bring the community together, including students and neighbors with a natural environment to enjoy and learn in and learn from. It will turn a currently hazardous space into a safe, natural habitat for wildlife and people. I so appreciate the great work that the Friends of Boker Creek and the Boker Creek Initiative have done, and the care they have brought to the protection and remediation of this natural jewel in the community. So much is possible when we work together, and I look forward to working with everyone to improve this space.
Thanks,
Thank
Kevin.
you for
Your time is up. Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. I know 3 minutes goes by so quickly. Thank you for your time. Andy, can we please invite Pat Walker into the meeting? Hi, Pat. Welcome to the meeting, special board meeting this evening. You have 3 minutes to make your presentation. I won't interrupt you during your presentation, but I'll let you know when your 3 minutes are up, at which point I do invite you to continue watching on YouTube. Do you have a presentation tonight? Oh. Hello, Pat. Can you hear me? Having some technical difficulties with Pat.
Pat is actually in the Zoom meeting twice, so potentially I could bring you in, Pat, on the second device that I think you're connected on, and we can see if that works, and then move this one back to the waiting room.
Can we try that?
We'll give that a go. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Pat, can you hear us? Just need to make sure you go off mute so that you can communicate, and we can hear you. You can hear us. Challenge with technology. Hi, Pat. Okay, maybe while we work out this technical challenge with Pat, Andy, can you? We'll leave Pat here, or perhaps you and they can chat. Can you invite Esther Callow in to give their presentation, please? Good evening, Esther. Welcome to this special board meeting. You do have 3 minutes to give your presentation. I won't interrupt you during your presentation, but when the 3 minutes is up, I will let you know and invite you to continue watching on YouTube. So Esther, do you have a presentation, or are you just going to be speaking this evening?
I do have a presentation.
Okay.
Am I in there twice?
I'm not sure. Andy, do we have another space for Esther? Just want to make sure.
I don't see you with 2 logins, Esther, in the waiting room.
Okay. Right. Well, I would like to share my screen.
Okay, you're welcome to.
Let's see. Can you see? No, you still see me.
I can see you in the settings bar or in the settings window, but I can't see your presentation.
Okay, well, I may need a moment here.
I think if you expand that window, your presentation window, and maybe move your settings window out of the way, yeah, maybe that will work. I'm not sure. I don't use Apple, so
I have done that.
Okay.
I'm going to move that.
There, I think that.
Oh. Let's see.
Now we just see your desktop with all your documents.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's see. I have 2 screens, so I'm trying to move.
I think you took the presentation over to your other screen. If you bring
that
I
did.
Back,
I was hoping that it would work.
If you bring that back and you move this window over, I think we'll be able to see your presentation. Yeah, so we can see your presentation if you expand it.
Okay, here we go. It was just a matter. Sometimes how YouTube shows up, or pardon me, Zoom shows up between the 2 screens is a surprise. So
it has a mind of its own. So
perhaps
Esther,
the screen sharing messed it up. All right.
Sure. So
thank you very much,
Esther. Sorry, I'm just going to let you know. We'll start your presentation for 3 minutes right now.
Thank you.
The problems of the Greater Victoria School District School Rejuvenation Strategy, presented by Esther Cayo, February 23rd, 2022. The Greater Victoria School District's school rejuvenation strategy is at the root of the proposed disposal of land at the Lansdowne Middle School South Campus site. On April 10th, 2017, the Greater Victoria School District Secretary-Treasurer presented this strategy to the Board of Education in the form of a memo. The report says the maintenance deficit is growing exponentially, and given the current funding levels and the district's limited ability to raise additional revenue, we're going to be faced in the not too distant future with facilities that do not meet board expectations. The report says further that it is staff's position that the disposal of parcels of land for reinvestment in our system would benefit the educational program. The report clarifies that disposal can mean lease or sale. Finally, the report says that pursuant to the board's strategic plan, a long-term facilities plan is currently being created. Clearly, the disposal of public school land to fund deferred maintenance costs is a losing strategy, since the rate of increase of these costs far exceeds potential revenue from land disposal. Despite this fundamental problem, as the report says, the strategy was embedded in the Greater Victoria School District's 2018 Long-Term Facilities Plan. A key recommendation is that the board identify parcels of land that are not anticipated to be needed for educational purposes for potential medium-term lease to a community partner. Recall that this strategy includes permanent disposals of land. The board's activities in support of this recommendation suggest that their policies and regulations regarding land disposal have been rendered subordinate to the pursuit of revenue. But School Board Policy 7110 states clearly that land disposal is subject to Ministerial Order 19308. And Ministerial Order 19308 states clearly that prior to engaging in land disposal negotiations, the school board is required to engage in broad consultation with the public. But we all know that the public wasn't even notified about the proposed disposal of Lansdowne Middle School South Campus land prior to the announcement on October 14th, 2021, let alone broadly consulted. This serious neglect of basic democratic processes requires independent investigation. Thank you.
Thank you, Esther. That was right on time. Appreciate you presenting this evening. Andy, we can check in on, I believe it was Pat Walker, who we were trying to get in before. Are they still available?
Yes, entering there.
Not seeing them yet, Andy. I don't blame you for that, but I'm not seeing them here yet.
No, it still says they're joining, unfortunately. So there might be some device issues.
Let's move forward then with Deanna Pfeiffer, and we'll see if we can't work out these issues with Pat. Just waiting for Deanna's audio to connect for those who are wondering why the silence. If this takes too long, we'll put a pause on Deanna and we'll invite in Jonathan Farber. I'm making notes on my end here, folks, so don't worry. We won't miss anybody. Still waiting for Deanna. Andy, can you invite in Jonathan Farber, and we'll just put Deanna next in queue behind Pat Walker, and we'll just keep this moving forward with every intention to try to get, oh, wait, I see Deanna's audio is connecting. Deanna, are you with us? Just want to make sure you're connected. Folks are having some connection challenges. Hello, Deanna. Are you with us? Just give a couple more seconds for Deanna. Andy, maybe if you want to, let's bring Jonathan back in. Oh, no, wait a minute. Hi, Deanna, are you there? I saw you go off mute. Deanna, I think we can hear you, kind of.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, a little echoey, but we can hear you.
Oh, isn't that weird? Because there's nothing on the screen here.
That's okay. We can hear you. Did you have did you have a presentation, or were you planning to just speak this evening?
Yeah, I'm gonna wing it. It's coming from the heart tonight.
Okay, so Deanna, just as I've told others, you have 3 minutes. I won't interrupt you during your presentation. I will let you know when 3 minutes are up and invite you to tune in on YouTube. So Deanna, your 3 minutes starts now.
Thank you, Chair Painter. So my name's Deanna. I live on Kings Road, which is very close to Lansdowne South, and I'm one of the many passionate community members that fought for that King's nature space over years, and generations before me has protected it from development, and we are super passionate about it. So one of the main key features of this nature space is that it's connected to the hospital. So our great plans were, let's get this greened and make it wheelchair accessible. Right now it's just a dirt path, but amazing to have the nature access for all of the patients, not just hospice, but cancer clinic, mental health units, the staff, visitors. So the very evening that we are celebrating and talking about all the good work that we honestly can't wait to get doing, and we found out about this sale. So we're horrified, and next thing you know, it was Christmas, and this all just seems to be happening so fast. But yes, we did freak out, and we're still freaking out because we really care about this property, and that upstream piece of creek is very important to our restorative work. So the things that didn't make sense is, wait a minute, so why is hospice, because we talked about this with the CRD, why is hospice not increasing their beds on developed land? Why do they need to find nature spaces when the hospital plans to insert nature onto the property and there is room for them? So then I learned that that building that they're proposing is for corporate and not patient beds. So there's just so many questions. And do we have reassurance that it is beds? And does that even really matter? To be honest, the sale does not solve the long-term funding issue the school district has, nor does it stop the projects that were planned. We can work together to protect natural areas, and we need to when we densify. I live in those high densification areas, and it's only going to get worse. In 2022, we protect the remaining natural areas for climate adaptation, flood mitigation, for biodiversity, as Jordan so eloquently explained. It's critical for our survival. So we densify on developed land. Possibly there was 2 homes that came up for sale at the end of our street. I don't know why they didn't purchase that, especially if it's, right across from the nature space. Our children also need natural areas, and our schools need room to expand as our population increases. These are not surplus lands. Our areas at a deficit of green space. We need more, not less. As trustees of a board of education, this is a perfect opportunity to model sound leadership for the next generation. Your decision teaches students about their leaders and whether they walk the talk in School District 61 about environmental stewardship and protecting last remaining pieces of nature in a climate emergency, or if short-term profits outcompetes long-term sound decision-making. Thank you,
Deanna. Thank you. Perfect timing. Thank you. Appreciate your presentation to us this evening. Andy, I just want to check back in on Pat Walker and see if we can get them in to meet. If not, we will bring in Jonathan Farber.
Sure, there is a new login, which is just, I don't have a last name, but it may well be Pat first name. So if we could see, and then
yes, let's invite them in and check. Just waiting for Pat's iPad to connect. Thanks for everybody's patience. Andy, maybe while we wait for Pat to connect, we can do as I was going to suggest last time. We can invite Jonathan Farber in so that Jonathan can make their presentation, and then perhaps Pat will connect to audio. So let's invite Jonathan in. Jonathan, are you there? We're just having some folks having some audio issues, so I want to make sure you are connected. Oh, there we go. Jonathan is connecting. Hi, Jonathan. Good evening. Welcome to our special Board of Education meeting. You have 3 minutes to present. I won't interrupt you during your presentation. When the 3 minutes is up, I will let you know and invite you to continue watching on YouTube. Did you have a presentation this evening, or were you planning to just speak directly? And let's make sure you're off of mute as well.
Sorry, I was following on YouTube and listening to you there instead of here. It's a game of musical chairs this evening.
It is. A lot of people are experiencing that. Absolutely. So Jonathan, I just want to make sure, do you have a presentation, or are you just speaking here?
Yeah, no, I'm just speaking. I'll try to keep it short because I know we're maybe halfway through the speakers list, and we still have.
So I'll start your 3 minutes now.
Sorry?
I'll start your 3 minutes right now.
Sure. Thank you to all of the presenters today for speaking to individual trustees and for doing everything in their power to ensure that their elected board has the community engagement they need by law to make an informed decision about school district land. But what we have seen today is that only 30 of us were provided the valuable opportunity to have a 3-minute Zoom call with some individual trustees, when what we really wanted and still want is a democratic consultation with other members of the public and, of course, with the board. While each trustee has a right and indeed a duty to discuss matters of board business with the public, nothing they can do as individual trustees will adequately and legitimately replace what the board can do when the board is able to meet as an elected body of 9 trustees to discuss and consider their own questions and the questions of the public. But of course, the board is absent from today's meeting. In fact, the Board of Education has been absent from the district for at least the past 2 weeks, during a period when at least 2 trustees have been unable to hear their constituents, ask their questions, and contribute meaningfully to the work that we, the public, elected them and their 7 colleagues as a board of all 9 trustees, and only as that board, to do. The most critical rights holders and stakeholders are also absent from tonight's meeting and will be absent from next week's meeting because the parents, students, teachers, and Indigenous groups do not recognize the remaining 7 individual trustees as a Board of Education with a legitimate public mandate to make decisions on the behalf of parents, teachers, Indigenous community, engaged citizens, and most importantly, the students and the children, who will not have the future they deserve until they have a board that serves them transparently and collaboratively. So while I feel inspired by everything that the community has said today, I feel disappointed that individual trustees are not and could not be in attendance today as a board to give the public the consideration and the representation that they deserve and that they are guaranteed under the School Act. Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan, for your presentation. Appreciate your input to the consultation process. We'll now move forward to Dr. Christine Jones. Set my clock.
Chair, we do have Pat still in the room. I think maybe we have.
Is Pat still here? Okay, sorry. Thank you for redirecting me, Andy. Pat, are you with us?
I am. I'm sorry about all the technical problems.
That's okay. I'm glad that you managed to make it.
Do you mind if you don't say me, because I can't really?
I don't. If
more of your time.
We can hear you. If you don't mind, we don't mind. It's totally up to you. So if you're ready, I can start your 3 minutes. I can start your 3 minutes now.
Thanks. My apologies.
No, it's fine.
I'm a local resident and I've lived near Bowker Creek for over 30 years. Protecting and caring for the natural environment is critically important to me. As a grandparent, I think about how the actions of adults today will impact the future climate and environment of our children and grandchildren and those after them. As the school district has declared, we are in a climate crisis. The health, well-being, and education of our students, demands that we preserve green space and prioritize the health and care of the land and natural environment. Research has shown that green spaces present a unique intervention that offers co-benefits to climate change, adaptation, and human health. The presence of and access to urban green spaces has been shown to have important health benefits to the community, while at the same time helping to mitigate and improve resilience to climate change and its impacts. Green spaces are good for all of us at all ages and for the health of our planet. We can also reduce emissions in the atmosphere through nature-based climate solutions like planting trees, restoring wetlands, and forest ecosystems. We need green spaces. Over the course of my participation in the public consultation related to the potential sale of this land, I've been concerned at how the discussion has focused on what is best for the potential buyer. For example, the emphasis on how the potential buyer is in need of a new home, and not what is best for the Bowker Creek watershed lands. I believe that in order to listen to the local voices of the community, the conversation needs to be about what is best for this watershed area and the future of protecting green spaces. My question is, why is land that the school board has previously agreed to protect being offered for sale? And my concerns are that while the potential buyer has included conceptual plans to meet watershed goals in their strategy, they have missed a key recommendation for this section of Bowker Creek. The daylighting feasibility study identified this exact location as the best preferred site for stormwater detention to mitigate flooding. And in the blueprint, it states large open areas that have not been developed represent the most likely potential for major restoration efforts that would significantly improve the creek corridor and overall watershed health. The blueprint document and the daylighting feasibility study were both endorsed by the school district. Yet I'm concerned that support of these documents and the goals for future preservation and protection are not being honored in this discussion. Honoring these goals would mean that this land is not sold for development, so that preservation and restoration of the creek, the floodplain, and surrounding green space could be achieved. I understand that the role of the school board, as stated on the website, is to engage.
Hi, Pat, I'm sorry, your time is up. I'm really sorry.
Can I just conclude my sentence?
If it's very quick.
I'm struck by how we start each meeting with land acknowledgement, but we're not holding care for this land at the center of our conversation.
Thank you, Pat. I appreciate that.
Thank
and
you.
I appreciate your presentation to us this evening.
That was a fast 3 minutes. Thanks so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. It goes by quick. It goes by
I'll
quick.
email it to you. Thanks so much.
Please do. We would love to see it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay, everybody. Andy, can we please invite Dr. Christine Jones into the meeting? Hello, Christine, and welcome to this special board meeting. You have 3 minutes. I won't interrupt you during your 3-minute presentation, but once your 3 minutes is up, I will let you know, at which time I invite you to continue watching on YouTube. So if you can ensure that you're off mute, and you've done that, thank you very much. Your 3 minutes starts now.
Hello, everybody. My name is Christine Jones. I'm a palliative care physician, previously was a family physician. I'm an educator. Victoria Hospice collaborates with UBC and UVic to train nurses, physicians, and others in compassionate care for people who are approaching their end of life. But I'm also here as a mother, a daughter of aging parents, a bereaved friend, and someone who believes passionately in the fact that dying and palliative care is not a medical event. It is a community event, and it is a human event. And while we are attached to the hospital, our care in part is medical, but largely it's psychological, it's spiritual, it's patient-centered. We're in this building now that used to be a maternity ward, and something feels right about that. From birth to dying, We've had physicians die here that have delivered over 1,000 babies. We've had young people die here. As was mentioned, we've had marriages here. This is a place not of dying necessarily, but of living. This is a living space. There's laughter, there's love, there's sadness, there's anger, there's the whole gamut of human emotions here. And I am privileged to be part of it. But this space here is not just where we provide our care. When I first started doing palliative care 25 years ago, we registered patients who are living in the community, and we were excited when there was 60 people on our roster. Now we have over 400 people, 454 I checked just before. And these people live in Oak Bay, they live in Gordon Head, they live in the Western communities, and we support them all. I see patients at home, long-term care, the hospital. I see them needing help. They need the help of our community. They need to be recognized. Dying has so much stigma associated, and imagine bringing, this is not scripted, imagine bringing this to a place of living where there's children, where there's nature, where there's an opportunity for community engagement. Pearl S. Buck said the measure of a society is how we take care of our people who are less able. That's our people who need our governments to act. They need them to make the big decisions. They need them to make allowances. Don't put dying people away. This space is not disposed of.
Thank you,
Dr. Jones. This space is enriching our community.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Jones. I'm sorry, 3 minutes goes by so quickly.
I know.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation this evening. Andy, can we please bring in Riga Godrin? Riga, welcome to the special board meeting this evening. You have 3 minutes to make your presentation. I won't interrupt you during your speech, but I will let you know when your 3 minutes are up. And at that time, we invite you to attend or watch on YouTube. So if you can unmute, I will start your 3 minutes as soon as you're ready. Hello, Riga, are you with us? Just checking with Riga. Just give you a quick couple seconds.
Riga does appear to have more than one login in the waiting room, so I could.
Can we try to bring the other one in, Andy, and see if we have any luck there?
Yep.
Riga, can you hear us? Or can you hear me, I suppose, is the right question. Hello, Riga, just checking. Okay, let's see if we can resolve that technical issue with Riga. In the meantime, Andy, can you please bring in Susan Haddon? And we'll see if we can't resolve Riga's connection issue. Hi, Susan. Welcome to the special board meeting this evening. You have 3 minutes to give your presentation. I won't interrupt you during it, but when 3 minutes is up, I'll let you know and invite you at that time to watch via YouTube. So Susan, are you with us? Just want to make sure you are connected.
Thank you, I am.
Hi, Susan. So if you're ready, your 3 minutes starts now.
Thank you. I've been thinking of the momentous decision that you will be making 5 days.
Hi, Susan. Welcome to the special board meeting this evening. You have 3 minutes. Susan, I'll have to get you to mute your YouTube feed or turn that down. Time to watch via YouTube. So Susan, are you with us? Just want to make sure you are connected.
I am. Thank you, I am.
Hi, Susan. Okay, so sorry, Susan. Sorry, Susan. Your YouTube feed is currently going and we're getting a lot of feedback. So you'll either have to mute or stop or turn off your YouTube feed. This evening. You have
there, sorry.
That's okay. I'm gonna restart for you. You're not the first person to do that tonight, so it's totally fine. So your 3 minutes starts now, Susan.
Thank you. I've been thinking of the momentous decision that you will be making 5 days from now and about the legacy that will be left by your decision. Your role as a board and as individual trustees responsible for the education of 20,000 students in 28 elementary, 10 middle, and 7 secondary schools, delivered by approximately 2,000 teachers, must weigh heavily on you as you work toward a decision and the legacy you will leave in making that decision. You must be feeling uncomfortable at the thought of bearing this weight as a reduced board of only 7 trustees. It must also feel uncomfortable given the GVTA's recent vote of no confidence in the process that led to the suspension of the 2 missing trustees. The letter to the Minister of Education from Songhee's chief Ron Sam calling for the board to resign must also unsettle you. What weights to bear? At the same time, you must be tempted by the thought of $2.5 million in return for the proposed disposition. As has been pointed out, $2.5 million is less than 1% of the stated $278 million you need for deferred maintenance, and if the full amount is put towards Cedar Hill Middle School replacement, it represents not quite 70% of the amount the district is to contribute to the $42.9 million project. You still need to find an additional $1.1 million. At the end of the day, a new Cedar Hill Middle School will be built that would have been built regardless. As was brought up at your last meeting, the ministry's capital plan states that the amount that the district cost share is assessed on a case-by-case basis dependent on the current financial situation of the school district. The plan also states the board's contribution can be from a number of sources, such as Ministry of Education restricted capital, local capital operating surplus, or other sources. So the proposed disposal of this land would seem to be avoidable. On the other hand, the region's population is growing and neighborhoods densifying, especially in and around Richmond School. How will the increasing numbers and future generations of children be served if there is no room to expand to meet these needs? This piece of school land being considered for disposal and development, a piece of ever rarer green space and natural floodplain habitat, once lost, is gone forever. Legacy is defined as the long-lasting impact of particular events or actions. What kind of legacy do you wish to leave? How do you wish to be remembered, both as a board and as individual trustees? Your decision on the 28th is a weighty one. It is also an irreversible one. I think it's important to think deeply about this fact. On the one hand, if you decide to proceed with the proposed disposal, the $2.5 million will make an insignificant contribution to a project that will proceed regardless.
Hi, Susan, your time is up. Your time is up. I'm so sorry. 3 minutes goes by so quickly. I really apologize, but thank you for your presentation to us this evening. Andy, how are we doing with Riga? Riga, are you here with us? I just want to check if you're connected. Oh, there's a third Riga. Riga, are you here? 3 Rigas. You would think one of them would work. Okay, we'll let that go for now. Andy, I don't know if you can chat with Riga to see if there's a connection issue there, but I'm wondering in the meantime if you can invite Andrea Gleischow in, and we can try to coordinate this issue with Riga's connection.
Chair, I do not see Andrea in the waiting room.
Okay, our next invitee would be Chris Munson. And Andy, let me just say on behalf of all of us, thank you for stick handling all of this technical stuff. It's not easy. We appreciate it. Just wait for Chris to connect. There we go. Hi, Chris. Welcome to the special board meeting. You have 3 minutes to present. I will not interrupt you during your 3 minutes. I will let you know when your 3 minutes are up. and we'll then invite you to continue watching on YouTube, as I believe many others are. So Chris, your 3 minutes starts now.
Okay, I just wanted to, well, first of all, thanks for throwing the opportunity to speak here. I'm in the local neighborhood, just down the block from where the proposed land sale's going to be occurring, and I wanted to voice my support for it. I think it's a great opportunity for a hospice, which we really need a new one. And also money is good for the school board to do all the upgrades that are required, earthquake proofing, et cetera. So I'm in favor of that. I do like what Bowker Creek Society's done though, over on Wordsworth, along the other walkways. I'm hoping that something can be worked out to do something similar along that side, perhaps on the south side of Bowker Creek there. That's what I had to say.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. You do have 2 minutes left if you want to add anything else.
No, that's it. That's everything I wanted to say. Thanks.
Well, thank you, Chris. Appreciate your presentation to us this evening and your input to the board. I'm going to check back in with Riga. Riga, do we have you here? Perhaps not. Andy, do we have? Oh, I'm sorry, Andy, go ahead.
I've not heard back on the chat, so I think there might be technical difficulties.
Okay, and do we have Andrea Gleischow?
No, I do not see Andrea in the waiting room.
We'll go next to Mike Graham. Or Graham. Probably pronounced that wrong, but Mike will probably correct me. And to folks watching, yes, it is getting towards 7:30, but don't worry, we're going to go through all our presentations. We're not going to cut anybody off. Mike, welcome tonight to our special board meeting. You have 3 minutes to present to the board. I will not interrupt you during your presentation, but I will let you know when your 3 minutes are up. At that point, I do invite you to continue watching on YouTube. So Mike, your 3 minutes start now.
Hi there, my name is Mike Graham and I live on Kings Road. And I'm currently working as a research intern for the organization called Happy City, which looks at how we can design our cities to make our communities more resilient and happy. And one of our current findings is how green spaces are foundational to our psychological well-being, our physical health, outcomes, childhood development, and much more, especially as neighborhoods densify. So I've been in this neighborhood since I first moved to Victoria to study, and almost daily I would de-stress from my university homework and walk the path of trees of Kings Park along Bowker, through the Spirit Garden and over to the green space at Lansdowne. And with so much of Bowker Creek under concrete, I've come to see how precious this small public green corridor is. And it really hit me how underrepresented green spaces are in this region when I was studying journalism. And during that time, I wrote a story on the neighborhood's green spaces, specifically Kings Park, where I interviewed my neighbor, Rebecca Starrett, who told me that our local, quote, our local area is at a deficit of green space based on Saanach's own standards. We're at a 25% deficit of accessible green space. She also said that with the densification we're going to see over the next 50 to 100 years, we have to be really cautious when developing green space because it costs a whole lot more to get those spaces back after they're lost. And speaking about the next 50 to 100 years, I wrote another story for Concrete Garden magazine on how we can expect the climate crisis will affect the South Island. And I spoke to experts across the region, from Indigenous peoples to climate scientists to government policymakers. And one of the concerns I frequently heard centered on extreme flooding. And as we've seen from tonight's other presentations, those concerns are already being realized, and that the Lansdowne green space will be crucial for mitigation. So since we're talking about the region of Saanich, I want to end with a quote by Saanich land steward Tiffany Joseph, who I also spoke with during that Concrete Garden story. And she said, there were so many fish in these waters, in our waters, that it looked like you could walk on their backs. But settler society paved over a lot of the ecosystems and watersheds here. And now you're lucky if you can even see a salmon jump. If we change our mindset to work for the land, to work alongside the land, and to do what the land wants for itself rather than to try to change it for ourselves, then we would experience a lot more benefit. So I hope that we as white settlers in this room will continue to reflect on how we act on and try to change these Indigenous lands. And I'll also add, if I have a bit more time, that my grandmother was in the hospice in her last years of life, and it was really important to her. And I hope we can find a compromise that works for everybody.
Mike, you've got 25 seconds left if you want to wrap.
Oh, well, I'm kind of good, but I shouldn't have spoken so fast. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, Mike. You did great. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Mike, Andy, can we check with Riga? Is she in?
We'll try another connection that has appeared, Chair.
Riga, are you with us? Thought I saw it come off mute, but maybe I'm seeing things. Okay, we'll let Riga be here. Hopefully we can figure out the challenge there. Next we have Catherine Foster. So Andy, if you can let Catherine in, please.
Chair, I think Andrea may be connected now. So
oh, okay. Let's let Andrea Gleischauf in. Thank you for that, Andy.
Sorry, I spoke too soon. They're no longer in the waiting room, so they might be having connection issues as well.
No problem. We'll keep an eye out for Andrea, and we'll work on trying to get Riga in as well, and we'll do Catherine Foster next.
Yep. Catherine is joining currently.
Thank you. Folks who are watching and wondering, we're just waiting for Catherine Foster to, oh, there we go. Catherine, can you hear us? Catherine, are you there? Just checking. Please go off mute if you are on mute. Okay, Andy, I'm going to call on your services again to see if we can't try to coordinate the technical challenge with Catherine. In the meantime, can you please invite Jane Devonshire into the meeting? Hello, Jane, are you there? This isn't a systems issue. Everyone's been doing so well so far. Jane, are you with us? Andy, is Jane connected with any other devices by chance?
No, just the one login.
Okay, I don't want to start throwing more people into the meeting. Any ideas, Andy, on how we can mitigate this? I don't know if this is an issue with, I'm not assuming this is a Zoom issue because we've had lots of people presenting already. If you have any ideas, Andy, I'm open, or we can try to bring in the next presenter, which is Dr. Janice Mason. But I don't want to just start throwing people in here if we can't connect.
I think if they're unable to come off mute and not receiving the chat messages I'm sending, we should move on to the next.
Sure, let's do Dr. Janice Mason then, and we can keep trying to bring in Riga, Catherine, and Jane in due course.
Can I make a suggestion that maybe if some, because obviously there's some technical difficulty, and hearing where Andy's not able to chat with them, can we give them a number that they can text messages to, because they're probably able to hear us on YouTube, but not able to make that connection to our Zoom?
Maybe what I will recommend is for, because we have a list here already, for anybody who does want to bring a presentation to the board, they can send in an email to the trustees. I mean, I want to do justice to those who have signed up, but I also want to keep this meeting going at the same time, especially for those who are watching. So perhaps we can send, we have the emails of our presenters.
Or an email address.
Catherine has just dropped off. So I know we do have the emails of our presenters. So perhaps if a member of staff, Kim, thank you, would be able to send an email to Riga, Jane, and Catherine. So Riga Gaudron, Jane Devonshire and Catherine Foster, requesting that they email us their comments for this evening. I want to make sure that we receive them. And I know Janice is in the meeting, but I also want to make sure Janice is connected. Janice, are you here? We are having some technical issues with some folks, so.
Yep, I'm here.
I see you, great. Okay, so Janice, you have 3 minutes to present. I won't interrupt you during your presentation. I will let you know when your 3 minutes is up, and then I invite you to continue watching on YouTube. So Janice, your 3 minutes start now.
Thank you. Remember when we were young and we walked or rode our bikes to school? I went alone or with my sisters, no parents in sight, 1 kilometer along quiet roads without much traffic. Near the Blenkinsop Valley when there was still Simon Road, a no-through road with fields and trees up the hill. Now that hill is paved, with the trees mostly gone and the traffic flies over what is now Mackenzie Avenue. There are traffic jams around schools as parents line up in their vehicles to drop off and pick up their children. My neighbors are covering up grass with gravel to park more vehicles. Buildings are reaching vertical heights never seen before in Victoria, and the province is pushing for even more density. Now, more than ever, we must do all that we can to protect the existing green spaces within our city. My name is Janice Mason. I'm a medical doctor and have lived in Saanich on and off for close to 60 years. The community has changed considerably during this time, losing green space and gaining more buildings, more vehicles, more people, and more noise. Studies show that this loss of green space in our cities is having a significant adverse effect on our health. We need green space in our cities as they grow taller to counteract the negative effects on our mental health of increasing density and loss of natural light. We need green space for our children to thrive. Boker Creek is an amazing educational opportunity for students of School District 61 to be stewards of the creek and the surrounding land. It is something for them to take ownership of and see what a difference they can make. Downstream, there has already been considerable work done in Oak Bay, and there is now a beautiful walkway and nature space along the creek. Let's continue that work upstream to enhance this vital waterway as identified by the existing Boker Creek Blueprint, a 100-year action plan, a document that was endorsed by SD61. Selling any part of the Lansdowne Middle School South property will undermine years of work and future potential. Keeping the land intact supports Boker Creek as a thriving nature space. It supports our children through learning opportunities, stewardship of the creek, and a place to run and play free. And it supports the health of all in our community. I implore the school district to keep the Lansdowne South property intact. Do not sell the land to hospice or anyone. Keep it for our children, for the creek, and for the health of our community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Janice, for your presentation. We really appreciate hearing from you this evening. Next, we have Mari Imahori. So Andy, if you can please invite Mari into the meeting. Hi, Mari. Welcome to the special board meeting. You have 3 minutes to present. I won't interrupt you during your presentation, but when your 3 minutes are up, I'll let you know and then invite you to continue watching on YouTube. So if you're ready, Mari, your 3 minutes starts now.
Okay, thank you for this opportunity to speak. My name is Mari Imahori. I am a SD61 parent. I have 2 children in middle school and 2 in elementary. And I have 1 more that's about to go to elementary. So I'm not really like an expert person at like environment or, you know, these like health or anything like this. But I've been following the board meetings for a while now, since, you know, the budget thing and stuff like that since last year. And you know, my son and I were talking about this, and I said, oh, should I talk to these people? Because I really feel like they should not be doing these like 2 readings or the first and second readings or any of these readings of these bylaws, And I just really didn't find the time to write any emails to you trustees, so I'm sorry. But, you know, I finally decided that I'm going to talk to you, because when I said to him, like, you know, should I talk to you? Then he told me, like, you know, it's no point, because you will not listen to me. And at that time, I decided that, you know, this is what watching these board meetings for a year with my children has taught him, that we don't have the power, like, we feel so powerless, and you make all these decisions that teachers don't want, these students don't want, these parents don't want, and you vote against all of us in this way. And it just made me feel really disappointed and discouraged. So that's why I'm here, because I need you to show by your vote, by how you vote, that you are listening and you care about these students. You know, I remember from the committee meeting that the teacher librarian was saying, you know, without the support of these resources to teach, it's really hard for the teachers to do their job. And the teachers are telling you, yes, they need this resource to teach the students the best, give them the best opportunity. And you are taking this away from the teachers, and that they cannot do the job that is good for our children. So I really do wish for you to not go and vote for this third reading of this bylaw, because you've already done the first two, and that was not good either, because you have no consultation. This is not consultation. Me just speaking to you is not really consultation, you know. I really wish that you would, there are so many people and the partners in that blueprint, you know, that I had not time to read it yet, but you have so many partners listed there, and you can talk and have a dialogue and discuss with these experts to, come to a good solution. But Mari, yes, thank you. Thank you.
Your 3 minutes are up. Thank you so much for presenting.
Thank you so much. Yes, I'm sorry I took the time from the other people that are in the wait list. I didn't know that I'm taking that.
That's okay. Yeah, no, that's okay. Thank you, Mari. Yeah. Your voice matters here. It really does. So we appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Can we now bring in Rob Van Zea? Or Van Zella?
I do not see Rob in the waiting room.
All right. Let's go to Franca Cordova von Specht. Franca, are you here with us? If you are, please go off mute and we can know that you are here.
Yes, I am here. Yes.
Okay, Franca, thank you. You have 3 minutes. I won't interrupt you during your presentation, but I will let you know when your 3 minutes are up, at which point we'll invite you to continue watching on Zoom or on YouTube, pardon me. So Franca, your 3 minutes start now.
Thank you. So I, like so many others, am voicing great concern about the sale of the 1.9 acres at Lansdowne Middle School. In a letter I wrote last month to you, I stated that opposing the sale or saying no to selling the land is actually a yes vote to Boker Creek watershed, a yes vote to flood mitigation, a yes vote to climate action, a yes vote to green space. When I look at this list that I just mentioned, watershed, climate, green space, I see that those are all considered like air and water, the common good. The common good refers to what is shared and beneficial for all or most members of a given community. The governance, looking after the common good at Lansdowne, rests with you, the trustees. I ask you today, when looking at this 1.9 acres, not to view it as an asset to be sold or a property, but as land imbued with this common good. Can we view the land not as standing alone, but somehow separate, but as inextricably connected to the watershed, the climate, the green space? Dear trustees, I am asking of you to see the 1.9 acres in this new and quite ancient way. And you know, the other day I was walking with my sister and we were talking, And that was Isabel, whom you heard earlier today. And she asked me if I thought anything was missing in the many points that those who oppose the sale have made and that you have heard today. I said to her, maybe just one thing. I said, what would the land say if it had a voice at the table? She smiled and said she didn't think that would help convince the trustees. But I put it to you today, what would the land say? I venture to say that Johann von Goethe had some important guidance for us. He said, in nature, we never see anything isolated, but everything in connection with something else, which is before it, beside it, under it, and over it. Please let those immensely profound words guide your decision and reflect wise stewardship, a stewardship that will benefit the very children for whom you are working so hard. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Franca. You have 25 seconds left if you want to wrap.
Okay, then I just would like to add that I'm hopeful that each of you will truly hear what was shared tonight. And just in Mari Imahori's voice when she said, I wish for you not to vote for the third reading of this bylaws. And she said, me just speaking to you is not really consultation. I wrote that down. So I truly hope you would see yourself as advocates for the land since it is in your care. And I would hope you would protect it like you would the children that are also in your care. Thank you.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you. Excellent timing. Thank you, Franca. I appreciate it. Folks, we do have Ian Graham and Susan Roberts left, but I understand that we actually have Jane, Riga, and Andrea in the waiting room. So I'm going to go through our last two presenters, and then we're going to go up to the ones who are having some technical issues to see if we can't resolve those. So Andy, can you please bring Ian in for his presentation? Hi, Ian. Welcome to our special board meeting this evening. You have 3 minutes to present. I won't interrupt you during your 3 minutes, but when your 3 minutes is up, I will let you know. At that point, we'll invite you to go ahead and keep watching on YouTube. So, Ian, if you're ready, your 3 minutes starts now.
I do have a presentation, if I could share my screen.
Yep. Please, let's get that up. Go ahead and share your screen.
You see that okay?
We can see it just fine.
Just a moment. Okay, I think I'm ready to roll here.
Okay, Ian, your 3 minutes starts now.
Thank you, Chair Painter. Ian Graham, I'm a director of the Friends of Boker Creek Society. I just want to start by saying that the Victoria Hospice is a wonderful organization with amazing staff. I'm a Vic Hospice donor. Both parents have transitioned there, and my mother birthed her 5 kids in that building. This is not about hospice. This is about your responsibility as trustees. It's about policy, respect, and how trustees and staff make decisions on behalf of the public. I want to start and talk a little bit about what is the legitimate expectation of the community, particularly around flood mitigation and the climate emergency. Starting with the Boker Creek Initiative, it's a unique partnership of the local government, ourselves, 3 or 4 community associations. It's really unique, set up in 2004 to improve the health of this highly urbanized watershed. And flooding is one of the big concerns. This is a picture on the bottom left of 6.5 inches of documentation that goes back 20 years, all commissioned by the Boker Creek Initiative and its precursor. All confirm flooding, current and future, is a key issue. All of them, from the 2000 watershed assessment right up to the 2020 daylighting study, which I'll speak to in a moment, point to flood mitigation value of this property. All helped inform the Oak Bay High Boker project and the collaborative approach that was embraced by School District 61 in 2015. Yet all of them, and the 20 years of collaboration around these documents, was ignored. And instead, you went straight to a purchase and sale agreement without any consultation. I think it's also worth noting that this body of work was raised by the informed public to a less than informed district representatives at your November 3rd Q&A session. And on two occasions, your senior staff said, I've only been here for 2 years. The daylighting feasibility study, lots of attention on the 2011 blueprint that the school district endorsed in 2018. This feasibility study is also very relevant. It builds on the preferred option in the 2011 blueprint and lays out a more detailed plan. Your own staff were actively involved in its development and recommendations. Yet this report and the strong, long-standing community expectation was also ignored. You did not consult with the BCI or its partners, and you went straight to a purchase and sale agreement. It's also relevant that this report lays the foundation for the City of Victoria's $5.7 million grant application to Infrastructure Canada. They just sent that in today, just submitted today, $5.7 million grant application based on this. The last thing I want to talk about, it's already been raised. You're not following the spirit of the ministry disposal policies, and you and your staff know it. Your process is creating unnecessary division and resentment in the community.
Ian, your 3 minutes are up, Ian. I'm sorry. I know it goes by fast. Thank you for your presentation. I think we have received this one already, but if not, please feel free to send it along to the board. I know we'd appreciate to have it and review it. Can we let Susan Roberts in? Just waiting on Susan Roberts to connect. And I understand we have Jane Devonshire and Riga Godrin in the waiting room. Andy, do we have Andrea and Catherine in the waiting room as well?
Yes, we do.
Okay. If Susan doesn't connect here, I'll go back to the top of the list and we'll pull Riga in. Let's just give Susan a couple more seconds to see if we get an audio connection here. Nicole, sorry. Yeah, Nicole, I saw your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi. I just wanted to share. I got a communication from one of the folks that I think was on our list, our speakers list, Rob Venzella. He was trying to call in on his cell phone. I tried 2 phones and 2 computers, and I think he was successfully in the meeting for a moment on his phone, but then I don't know if he got disconnected or what happened, but I wonder if we could keep an eye out for a cell phone trying to connect. It'll very likely be Mr. Venzella.
Okay, thanks, Nicole. Appreciate that. And Andy will keep an eye on that. Andy, let's bring in Riga and see if we can't connect through to her or them. For this time. Okay. Riga, are you with us? Hello, Riga. Are you here? If you are, please go off mute so we can. So Riga, you're going to have to turn off your YouTube if you have another feed because it's going to cause that feedback.
Ryan, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
You can hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I just had a very short few words I wanted to say to everyone. So in the spirit of Pink Shirt Day, I just wanted to tell everyone who is watching today that I love you. And also, I just wanted to acknowledge the lands that the Greater Victoria School District plays and works and learns on. And also, I just wanted to tell you that I'm in favor of this land use proposal. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Riga. I know she can't hear us, but appreciate her being able to provide that input. Susan is still trying to connect. Can we go to Andrea Gleischoff, please, Andy? And Kim, if we can just make a note of Susan, if we can't connect, please also loop them in on an email, just inviting comments or if there's anything we can do to help them connect. Thank you. Andrea, welcome to the meeting. You have 3 minutes to present. I won't interrupt your presentation, but I will let you know when your 3 minutes are up, and we'll invite you at that point to continue watching on YouTube. So your 3 minutes starts now.
Hi, my name is Andrea Gleichoff, and I'm here with Carolyn Knight, who is taking my spot and will talk on my behalf instead of me. Okay.
Just fine. I'm going to restart then, just so I can give the sub speaker a full 3 minutes. So okay. If you're ready, you can start now.
Okay. Good evening. This is Carolyn Knight. I'm a grateful guest of Lekwungen and Wasanich Nations homelands and peoples. Thank you for hearing me tonight. As an art-based community development practitioner, I connect learners to urban nature and collaborate by community projects in cooperation with SD61 in schools throughout the service area and in cooperation with District of Saanich, planning parks, recreation, and culture. Planning in silos pits interest groups, missing opportunities that lead to best outcomes. We know this. We ought to do better. 21st century issues require us to convene for best practices. We cannot ignore environmental infrastructure, such as the land in question provides, as we plan for climate change-driven realities. The land is not surplus. The site is necessary for prudent planning for educational purposes. When SD61 set to close Richmond School in 2006, my family was impacted. We lost our school. The rationale at that time that enrollment was trending down, the school lands were surplus and selling made sense. Now we see how wise the decision not to close and sell the site. Many schools have made their home there during earthquake renovations. Enrollment and classroom space is needed, notably adding capacity for Lansdowne School spilling into the Richmond South Campus. I want to commend SD61 board and staff from backing away from that previous near the edge land sale that maintains Richmond School as a site for learning. The realization that public land for public ed was best use of lands at Richmond and remains an important asset. The idea of building these days on a floodplain is reckless. Insurance assessments for siting buildings should be uppermost in planning regimes. Rainfall peak flows during atmospheric river episodes cannot be ignored, underestimated, or overridden. Surely discussions can determine an appropriate place for the sacred services that hospice provides. Surely representatives of hospice, the CRHD board and staff, and district and municipal reps can cooperate to come up with a site that makes sense. The illustration made available by hospice a day ago shows a footprint that may look nice, but it's not sympathetic to the real need for enough floodplain to manage unprecedented rainfall events, plus king tide scenarios. I implore this group, this board, pause, like the wise action back in 2006. Step away from an illogical plan. Maintain the land in its ecological footprint for the engineering imperative of creating necessary stormwater detention to prevent havoc downstream. Please cooperate, collaborate, and communicate for sensible planning. Thank you very much.
Your 3 minutes are up. Oh, you ended. Perfect. Love it. Very good timing. Thank you. Appreciate your presentation to us this evening. Catherine Foster, but before we go to Catherine, actually, I believe we have Rob on the line. So Andy, do we have that phone number here?
There is an iPhone that may be Rob.
Let's see if this is Rob. And then I think Catherine and Jane are next. Hello, iPhone, who is connected. Is this Rob Banzea? Just wanting to check. Please unmute so we can hear you.
Oh, there. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, is that Rob?
Yeah, it's Rob, and it's Vanzella. And what a
Vanzella.
show. Holy cow.
I'm sorry, Rob. So you have 3 minutes. I will not interrupt your presentation, but I'll let you know when your 3 minutes are up. And your 3 minutes start now.
Good, thank you. Good evening to all the trustees. Thank you for allowing me to speak this evening on the disposal of SD61 property at the Lansdowne Middle School. I am opposed on the sale of this property. I was involved in the protection of the King's nature space and Bulker Creek for the last few years, and it was an uphill battle. I have learned a great deal on the reasons why it was necessary to protect green spaces, including the property designated to be sold. With the ever-growing climate change and the lack of green spaces available, it makes it even more important to protect the remaining green spaces that are present in our area. The future goal of the King's Nature Green Space is to serve the communities of Victoria, Oak Bay, Saanich, and the hospital so people, their pets, and also patients at the hospital, including palliative care patients from hospice and their families, can enjoy this green space. The land in question for sale is necessary for the school children's growth and to enjoy and experience nature that Bulker Creek and the green space has to offer. We need to protect green spaces and have organizations build on developed properties. With our ever-growing population and densification, it makes it more necessary to protect green spaces. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rob. You do have 1 minute and 39 seconds left if you want to continue.
Well, the only thing I want to say is I just hope that hospice is being totally transparent in what they want to put in that area that is up for sale. And just from what I understand, it's meant for corporate people and not patient care. So anyways, I just hope they're going to be transparent with everybody, the public and everybody involved. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your presentation, Rob. Appreciate that. Andy, can we go to Catherine Foster, please?
Catherine is currently joining.
Sure, thank you very much. Hi, Catherine. Just want to make sure that you are connected and you can hear. Please go off mute just so that we know you are connected and good to go. We've had some folks with some, as you know, connection issues. Just checking in, Catherine. Please go off mute. Andy, is Catherine connected in another device by chance?
No, Chair.
Okay. Can we try Jane Devonshire, Andy, and let's see if Jane can come through. We have emailed Catherine and Jane, so they both have been offered an opportunity to also comment and submit questions or comments. Jane Devonshire, are you available? Please go off mute so we know that you are here with us.
Hello.
Hi, Jane. Thank you very much. Thanks
Am
for
I
joining us
connected?
tonight. Yeah, you are. Can you hear us? Can you hear me?
Okay, I can't hear you, Chair, but you can hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, I'll
Yep.
just go ahead then.
I'm talking.
All right, so good evening, everyone, and thank you, trustees, for this opportunity to speak. My name is Jane Devonshire, and I've been a volunteer organizer with Dogwood going on 10 years now. Dogwood's mission statement reads, "We organize local people to win back control of our environment, energy, and democracy." I'm here today taking a stand and speaking out to win back our environment and democracy. I hope that the board will seriously hear the will of the people here tonight, advocating for the protection of Bulker Creek and putting the brakes on the sale of our priceless school lands. I would like to quote Francis Littman, the founder of Creatively United for the Planet, who spoke so eloquently at the TEDx event this past Saturday. What stood out most memorably from her presentation was this one question that she said everyone should be asking themselves, and that is, will the action that I am about to take heal the future or steal the future? We have already stolen the future of our children in so many ways. I would love to be in a quiet, beautiful space surrounded by caring hospice workers when it is my turn to check out, but I would give that up in a heartbeat if I felt it would steal the future of our children. I'm on my way out, but our children have yet to live their lives. I want my legacy to be one that heals the future and gives our children a rich and full life as we have been so blessed to have experienced. That is why I'm here today to ask the board once again to halt the sale of our children's assets and protect Balker Creek, as is the will of your community. Just look at the long list of advocates here tonight. My MP once told me that when a person made the effort to write a letter, make a phone call, or make an in-person office call, each equated to the voice of 100 people. Please reflect on this as you've listened to the presenters tonight and have read through all your copious emails before you make your deliberations. Let's heal the future for our children's sake. Thank you so much for your kind attention.
Okay, thank you, Jane. Thank you, Jane. We got a thumbs up all around, so that's great. I want to check one more with Catherine Foster. So far, unless I'm mistaken, based on my list, they are the only person we haven't heard from tonight. So, Andy, can we just check with Catherine one more time if they're still connected? Catherine, just checking, you are our last presenter. I want to make sure that you're here. Hello, Catherine, can you hear?
Hi.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. Excellent. So Catherine, you have 3 minutes. I won't interrupt you, but I'll let you know when your 3 minutes are up.
Sorry, I'm hearing somebody else talking over top. Can you just pause it for a second?
Yeah. If you turn off your YouTube feed, then we can probably get rid of that echo.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you fine. So your 3 minutes starts now.
Thank you. It's been very frustrating. Okay, my name is Catherine Foster. For more than 40 years, I've lived within 200 meters of Boca Creek and the parcel of land in consideration tonight. I raised 2 children in this neighborhood and both went from kindergarten through to grade 10 at Richmond and Lansdowne schools respectively. And for more than 2 decades, I was the chair and chief steward of the community project garden and local treasure known as the Spirit Garden, which is adjacent to this property. Today, I'd like to talk about trust. The concept of trust is implied in your very titles. For all of the 40 years I've lived here, I've paid taxes without ever missing a payment. I have never missed an election. My job as a citizen is to exercise my vote. Those who are elected trust that I will do so. And I, both as a voter and taxpayer, then trust that decisions to spend those taxes and or deal with public access will do so with wisdom, consultation, and forethought. In the case of the school board in particular, there is a further trust that is doing what is best for our children and those who cannot yet exercise the right to vote. The first time the board tried to sell then Richmond School property, I was shocked. How could a board entrusted with public land sell such land that I had supported with my hard-earned dollars and those of other citizens? I actively and substantially participated in a protest against the sale then and thought that the board, some of whom are still here tonight, had become well aware of how precious the community considers this land and Boca Creek to be. I was gobsmacked then, and now I am outraged all over again. How is it possible that such a memory could be so short? The trust that the community bestows upon you to be transparent, to consult and to act with forethought and wisdom has been betrayed with the decisions to consider this land for sale. The proper process or consultation has been abbreviated and rushed and frankly feels like a lot of lazy thinking. By this, I mean when the community has been reeling and otherwise preoccupied with COVID, it seems like the board decided that selling to hospice would be a motherhood issue and therefore unlikely to cause any upset and would just slip under the radar of community notice. And I mean no disrespect to hospice. It was clear from the first meeting that little or no research had been done on the history of the community's advocacy and wishes for the land. And frankly, the ignorance of that was appalling. Considering an agreement for sale had already occurred. I see this entire process as a betrayal of that trust contract we have with you as board members. Please cancel or put the process on hold until a calm, reasoned, paced consultation can take place.
Thank you, Catherine. Your time is up. Thank you. And I understand staff have corrected me. Susan Roberts is still to present. She's in the waiting room. So if we can admit Susan Roberts, please. Susan, can you hear me? Please go off mute so we know that you are connected to the meeting and can present.
Hi there.
Hi, Susan.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can.
Excellent. So Susan, you have 3 minutes. I won't interrupt you during that period. When your 3 minutes are up, I'll let you know, and then you can continue watching on YouTube. So your 3 minutes start now.
Okay, thanks. I did have something to share, and I'm not quite sure how I do that.
Okay, we'll pause. There is a share button on the bottom of your application, a share screen in the Zoom. I've not used it on mobile before, so perhaps Andy, you can help direct Susan.
Oh, I think I've got it going into my photos. Here, this is what I wanted to show.
And then you will need to select, it should show you an option of what to share, and then you need to select share again to actually share it with us, Susan.
Okay. Let's see, I've got the picture up on my screen, but I'm not sure how to do that.
So Susan, if we're running into a technical issue here, please feel free to email the photo to the board. Wait a minute.
There it is.
Okay, perfect. Susan, then I will start your 3-minute presentation now then.
Okay, so I'm speaking for my husband and myself because he wasn't able to talk. And so I guess the question we've been asking ourselves are, why are we in this position again? Sort of being notified after the fact that this school property is being put up for sale again. Only this time, not only is it being put up for sale, but there's an offer to purchase in place. And we're just wondering, has nothing been learned from last time? Myself, I'm pretty ticked off about it, to say the least. Many community and school groups have come forward and all very passionate about saving this land and opposed to the proposed sale of it. And yet it feels like we're not being heard. Here we are going to third reading. And I sort of question ourselves, are we really being heard how we value this land and do not want it to be sold off? And looking at other options for this land. So here, this picture that I have up on the screen is just one option that probably hasn't been considered. And it's like Ian put up the Bowker Creek blueprint design also. So this is Al, my husband's vision. And it embodies the principles outlined in the Bowker Creek blueprint. We need all of this land on both sides of the creek if we're going to achieve, to a reasonable degree, of protection for flood control and habitat restoration. Not just the leftovers once a building is put on that property. And I think most important, I don't think I can get the picture up on the screen. We're overlooking a wonderful opportunity to develop a nature and learning center, which would probably garner much community and regional support in restoring this land. Teaching the appreciation of nature and how to work and design with it is an incredible gift we can give to our children. Empowering. It would be a living classroom. You know, we need a vision for this land. Generations will look back and thank us for our wisdom and our foresight. We're just requesting that you don't sell this land until you have seriously considered other options, including nature education possibilities. And, you know, green space and the tranquility that it gives us is a scarce commodity these days. And
hey, Susan, your 3 minutes are up. I'm sorry. I know it goes.
Can I say my last sentence? We need
yes, I've let others say their last sentence, so go ahead.
Okay, we need respite for the living, not only for us, for our children and our children's children, but also for the wildlife.
Okay, thank you, Susan. Really appreciate that. If you could stop sharing your screen. Perfect. Thank you so much, Susan.
Thank you.
We're good. So that is our community presentations for this evening. I want to thank everybody for coming to present, all 30 who came and presented various aspects and perspectives on this project. On behalf of the board, we sincerely appreciate you coming tonight. And we look forward to continuing to hear from members of our community as we move forward to next Monday's vote. So with that, yes, Trustee Whitaker.
I just had one question, and I appreciate all the work that everyone has put in this evening and all of the presenters. I just wonder, I do have some questions on the recent letter from hospice, how I should submit, or when do I ask these questions?
As with every trustee, you have the opportunity to email staff with your questions. We will also be discussing this on Monday night when we come to the third reading of the bylaw. So there are many opportunities for you as a trustee to seek further information until Monday.
So I guess I'm seeking just clarification from staff as to what process would they like that to be followed, and then how would those be presented at the board? I just want to ensure that the answers are available.
Sure. So
Monday.
through me to Secretary Treasurer Morris.
Sure. If you want to email me, I can certainly liaise with the hospice and provide those answers for the board meeting if I receive them in time. Thank you.
Thanks. I'll go as fast as I can. Just not.
All right. Thank you very much, trustees. With that, can I seek a motion to adjourn? Moved by Elaine, seconded by Angie. All those in favor? And that is unanimous. Thank you, everybody. Have a great evening.